Hey y'all, and welcome back to Freight House Kitchen. Today we are gonna make my if I say everything is my favorite, but I swear this really is my favorite, matzo ball soup. Good old fashioned matzo ball soup. All right, y'all, so one trick that I have learned in making matzo ball soup is that when you're doing the chicken, so we're gonna do like traditional old boiled chicken style soup, is that the breast and the legs and the thighs don't all cook at the same time. So what I like to do is I like to take the thighs off. So I'm gonna start by making sure I get that oyster out of there. And if you mess up, it's not a big deal because you're gonna go back and pick all the meat off the bone anyway. I'm gonna do the same thing. I cut right here, open it up. Then you wanna hear that bone. It's like the best sound ever. Okay. So I am gonna take the liver out, but I am gonna leave the neck in. It'll taste delicious. I'll save that liver and kidney for next time. So we got that. Then right here, kind of right where you see the skin changes from the leg meat to the thigh meat a little bit. So what this does, my thighs will be cooked because they're not held together up against the body at the same time my breasts are. So I don't want everything overcooked. So we're gonna get rid of this stuff. Just throw it right on the ground. That's what Lula does. She's like into this thing right now where she like eats some food and she throws some food on the ground, but it's mostly for the dog. So next, we're going to start out, we're gonna take some celery here. And I just like to stack the celery up. It's already been washed, get rid of that little bit on the end. And big pieces. Listen, matzo ball soup, it doesn't need to have little tiny Bryn-Wad vegetables. It needs big, hearty pieces. Celery in. This is a yellow carrot. Just take the little tip off. I'll maybe split this top part, just kind of open it up like that, and then you can cut them like this. That's in. The parsnip. I love like the earthiness of parsnip. Do the same thing, split this, maybe. So this is gonna be flavoring not only the stock, but the chicken. And if you cut it up really small, it'll just be overcooked and mushy and you won't be able to use it. Got a nice orange carrot. And you're noticing I'm not peeling it. I like I mean, to me, it doesn't make any sense to peel this stuff. I don't mind eating the skin. Onions right in. I don't want like little bitty pieces. Put those right in. Now this is the one thing that I do a little different. I love black garlic. Black garlic it's fermented garlic. This is like big, huge elephant cloves of black garlic. I'm just gonna split those in half. They have this like balsamic vinegar, chocolate, umami bomb. They just taste really yummy. So throw those in there too. Then I've got some toasted black peppercorn and a little toasted fennel seed. Fennel is like, I love licorice. It's so yummy. I love that fennel flavor. Some fresh thyme and some fresh bay leaves. I usually use 2. Next, I'm going to use some of our fortified stock. You can use water if you want and just add water to it and you make your own chicken broth. I like to start with the stock and then we're gonna fortify the stock over here. This is like super kosher Jewish. It's made with pig's feet. Oh, not at all. So it's got pig's feet and chicken bones and tons of roasted veggies in it. We're gonna add that in. That's a perfect amount. Who'd have thunk? I really didn't know, just guessing. And you can see here that, so I'm going to flip this chicken so that the breast is down. Because if the back of it, like that's not so much importance that this, you can see now that I've got the backbone sticking up. I want the breast to be down and submerged. I'm gonna throw this on the heat and it's gonna cook until it's tender. And don't boil the piss out of it. Nice poach, low and slow. It'll be tender, it'll be juicy. Throw a pinch of salt in there, that's like a big pinch of salt in there for good luck, but we don't want to make it over seasoned either. We're gonna go back and season the broth whenever we make matzo balls in the chicken broth. So we'll see you guys back in a second. I'll show you how to pick a chicken. This chicken has been simmering an hour and a half, 2 hours, about like that. I'm gonna pour the chicken out. Oh, look at that broth. Oh, yummy. So I'll take this chicken now and I'll move it right over here. And then this is gonna be my broth. Don't throw this away, that's liquid gold. And that's gonna be what I'm gonna cook my matzo balls in. All right, so what we're gonna start doing is we're gonna have this and we're just gonna pick through. So you're gonna have to pick the vegetables, like your breast here. Woo, it's hot. See, so we've got, it's still like really juicy and moist. It's still gonna fall apart more as you cook it, so don't start shredding it into like little tiny pieces. So we're gonna pick, got a nice leg here. Slide all that meat off of there. On the leg, watch out because there's like this little kind of tendony bone piece, and then you've always got this little feather bone in there too. I feel like matzo ball soup is kind of like the equivalent of like what chicken and dumplings is in the South. Matzo ball soup is to every Jew across the world. Maybe not every Jew. Yummy. So I'm getting every little piece of that. I'm getting all the veggies. I'm not gonna put those cloves of black garlic in there. Actually, oh wait, they have a ton of flavor. Okay, I'm gonna mush them up and squeeze the juice out. So here's what we're left with. Chicken, we've left it in big pieces so that we can break it apart a little more. Lots of veggies in here. Oh, this is the best piece right here. This is the oyster. It's like that little nubbin where the thigh, it's like the top ass muscle of the chicken. I don't really know, but it's like the best piece ever. And I was gonna give it to my mother, but she didn't get here quick enough, so I ate it myself. I'll give you tender. Oh, there it is. I know. That's what you get when you slow cook it. You don't need to boil. I mean, they say boiled chicken, but you really don't need to boil it. Just nice and slow with a little bit of salt and tons of flavory stuff. We're gonna put our stock back in here. And look at that like rich, deep color. So good. We have poached our chicken, picked our chicken. Now we're gonna make the essential part of matzo ball soup. Matzo balls. To make matzo ball soup, you've got this dried bread, this dried cracker thing, and when you poach it, just the mixing of it is gonna make it puff. We do ours a little bit different though. We add a little bit of baking powder to it because we like to see it, I like to see it get real puffy, like really the opposite of what matzah is supposed to do. I wanna see that rise, I wanna see it puff up. So in this bowl right here, got 1 cup of matzah meal. It's this matzah here, we've ground it up, and we want it to have this like nice consistency. I don't want it like completely pulverized. I wanna see like a little bit of the color and a little bit of the flakes in there. So I've got 1 cup of matzah meal, and then I've got a heaping teaspoon of baking powder. So 1 cup matzah, heaping teaspoon baking powder. We're gonna start here. We're gonna add some dill. I love dill. Just, I don't know, something about it. It makes me feel extra Jewish when I eat dill, maybe because I associate that with like lox and bagels, stuff like that. So we're just gonna cut this dill up, add it to it. And then I like to put a little pinch of Aleppo pepper in there. So Aleppo pepper doesn't really have much spice. It's just the skin of the pepper. There's no seeds, but it has a really beautiful flavor. Lots of like depth to it. Good big pinch of salt. Then we got the eggs. We get all of our eggs from a farmer in Marion, Kentucky, not Marion, Illinois, not to be confused. Like, when we get these, we get fresh egg delivery once a week. those eggs are 1 week old. When you get them at grocery store, you don't know how old they are. They have a pretty significant shelf life, especially if they're refrigerated. So, I mean, nobody's telling me when that egg laid, or when that hen laid that egg. So I like to get the fresh ones. I also love to do the initial boop, boop into the yolk and get them broken up. So make sure these egg yolks and whites are super emulsified, really mixed up well. You don't want to over mix it when you get it in here. That's the trick to a matzo ball. Don't over mix it. Don't let it sit around for too long. Don't set it and forget it. But it's like sometimes you'll cut into a matzo ball and it'll look like it's gonna be perfect on the outside. It looks like fluffy, and on the inside, it's called a rock. It just looks like matzah and rocks. It's like a big, dark gray ring, and I think it's usually because they sit around for too long. Once they've been mixed, we want things to hydrate, but we don't need them necessarily to hydrate so heavily in the bowl because we're gonna put them in a pot of liquid and cook them so they can continue to hydrate in here and really puff up. So we've got salt, Aleppo, dill, matzah. I'm gonna add these eggs, and I'm gonna hold back just a tiny bit, just in case. These are farm eggs, so we're never sure about the size of them. Start to mix that up, and I can tell pretty quickly I'm gonna need the rest of this egg. And once it appears that all my egg or oil, doesn't matter. 4 tablespoons of oil too. There's magic in TV, you guys, magic. So once it all looks about like this, it's a little thick for me. So you have to imagine that all of that is gonna suck up all that liquid. This is where the soda water comes in. This is a trick that my mother taught me maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. She waited till I was 37, 36 years old to tell me about the soda water trick. But this is soda water, and there's little bubbles in there. You can see them, flicking around. So you add that at the very end so that you don't just, destroy all the little bubbles. It's the same thing like if you're gonna make tempura batter, use soda water and a little vodka because the vodka evaporates really fast. So this is gonna sit. I'm gonna just taste it, and it's good. I love raw matzo. I love raw pizza dough, raw pie dough, raw biscuits. I love it. So this will sit in the fridge no more than 10 minutes. Do not let it sit more than 10 minutes. It'll be good then. So it'll sit, and then we're gonna have our stock over here boiling. We're gonna taste that and make sure it's seasoned. When we come back, I'll show you how to roll them and drop them in. So we've got our paper lid, we've got our matzo ball mix that has been sitting for about 10 minutes. When you make this, do not just mush it as hard as you can. Nice, light, fluffy, that's what we're going for. If you make yours the size of a golf ball, it will end up like the size of a baseball. So I make mine about, I don't know, about that big. So a little bit smaller than a golf ball. You roll it out. And I'm kind of rolling it to where it doesn't have a whole bunch of cracks in there. Remember we talked about not over mixing. First step to a good fluffy matzo ball. Second step, don't let it sit too long. Third step is this process right here. You just want to roll it enough to where the outside edges are kind of smooth. Last one's in. Paper lid right on top. That's it. Those guys are gonna simmer for about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna take them off. And I like to let them sit in the liquid for like 10, 15 minutes before I serve them. I just think it gives them a chance for sometimes you cut into them and they're a little undercooked in the middle. If you let them sit, that'll absorb and saturate into it, all that yummy, juicy broth. We'll add this right back at the end. So we'll add all our veggies and chicken. It's already cooked. We don't need to cook it anymore. We'll add that right back at the end. And yeah, we'll be back in a sec. Taste some matzo balls. Okay, so these boiled for about 10 minutes. And then I turn the heat off and let them sit for about 5 more. So they've just been chilling in there. And you know right away if it's matzo rocks or matzo balls. Perfect consistency all the way through. There's no like dark little circle in the middle. And now we're gonna take this yummy stuff. So we've got our chicken breast, all our veggies. We're gonna add that back in here. This is the best part. I don't know what I'm thinking. I should just do it like, you know, work smarter, not harder. Because we want all that juice that's been sitting in there. Put that in the oven. All right, it's just gonna take a second for that to get nice and warm. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna put a little matzo ball right there. Put a little matzo ball right there. I like 3 balls. 3 balls. I always get 3. Austin always gets 3. And then there's 2 left over for us to come back for seconds, and Lula gets like 1, but she doesn't really eat much of it, so I eat all of that one too. 3 balls. And then we need some of that good veggie. And you know, matzo ball, nobody said it was beautiful. Celery, some yellow carrot, some orange carrot, need a little chunk of parsnip. God, I'm in heaven right now. Yeah, some onion. That's it. Maybe just a little sprinkle of Aleppo on top if you want. And that is matzo ball soup. Thanks, you guys. Happy Passover. I don't know that there's anything else that I eat that makes me feel the same way matzo ball soup does. Like, I remember my mother making this, and it just, now I'm a mother and I get to make it for my daughter. It's delicious. Matzo ball soup, yeah. Don't be scared. It's so good. It really is so good. I can't stop.